What if I told you there's a better way to actually achieve your goals in the new year, and it all starts with working with your Enneagram number, not against it? For example, Enneagram 1s, 3s, and 8s usually go after their goals with great pizzazz. They work themselves so hard that eventually they're left burned out and resentful. But research shows us that the best way to get things done is to transform the daily grind into a source of daily joy. If these go-getter types can find ways to put breaks and play into their routine, they're going to unlock their hidden potential. But some types can't even voice what they want in the new year. Yeah, Enneagram 2s and 9s, I'm looking at you. But the reason they do this is different. Type 2s think if I help everyone else achieve their goals, then everyone's gonna love and appreciate me. But Type 9s think if I just say what I want, it might disrupt my comfort zone or cause conflict. I want you guys to remember that your needs matter. Plus, honestly, the people that want the best for you aren't gonna want you to bury your dreams. In fact, they're gonna help you get there. They want you to achieve them. Next up, we've got the dreamers of the Enneagram, Type 7 and Type 4. They're typically brimming with ideas about how to make their lives better, but they struggle with the follow-through. For 7s, it's usually because they commit to too much, which can suck out all the joy. Try picking just 1 or 2 top priority goals and bringing them across the finish line. Type 4s, on the other hand, experience a drop in motivation once that initial burst of passion has faded. Set yourself up for success by starting small and then building on that gradually. It's like a runner training for a marathon, right? You can't just pick up and run 26 miles cold turkey. You gotta train for it. Start small, 1 mile at a time. Lastly is our preppers, Type 5 and Type 6. I've got a quote for you. Good planning without good working is nothing. Thank you, President Eisenhower. See, Type 5s fear being incompetent, but they can spend so much time prepping for their goal that they forget to actually, do the goal, do the thing. Yeah. Then Type 6s can make all the lists in the world, but if they're not taking care of themselves, they're going to get overwhelmed. My advice for both these types, ask for help. There's a reason accountability partners exist. But you still have to know how to create intentional goals that work with your Enneagram type's deepest needs, not against them. What can you do on a daily basis to help your type follow through on their dreams? You go after your goals dutifully, but your plans can get sidetracked. Because you're so duty-bound, sometimes you'll set aside what's best for you in order to appease other people's expectations. I think that the right people in your life, they're gonna want you to do what you need to do to be happy, instead of building up this simmering resentment that you've set aside your goals to take care of other people. It's how Stephen Curry got to be so good at basketball. In the beginning, he hated doing the boring drills back and forth during practice, so when it got to the game time, he just didn't bring as much passion into it. But then he got a new coach who saw the problem. Why work so hard on something that's not enjoyable? So he made up a bunch of basketball games that made Curry light up in practice. It's the exact same thing for 1s. When you go to your growth line of Type 7, you're able to embrace your inner child, your inner joy. You're able to access that sense of play. These tips will help you get there. Avoid perfectionism. Create systems that help you pursue goals, but they don't have to be completed to a T. Give yourself space to not get everything done. Ask for help when you need it, and I know this is hard for Type 1s. If you have a goal, communicate that to your loved ones. Maybe your husband can do the dishes so you get an extra 15 minutes of writing in. Don't let that resentment fester. View your to-do list as a possibility, not a requirement. Put what you absolutely need to get done first on the list, and then tell yourself it's okay if not everything gets completed. If you can just do the most important tasks, that's what matters. I've got an example goal for you. Pick an activity once a week that's not something you should do, it's something that you want to do. But then we have Enneagram 2s. You'll literally drop everything to help someone else. The belief there is if I can make myself indispensable to others, then they're always gonna need me around. Look at that. But in the process, you neglect your own goals and desires. Plus, while you're helping everyone else, your lack of self-care is gonna lead to frustration and overwhelm and burnout. So consider these tips. When you nourish yourself, you're better able to nourish other people. If you protect the time you need to accomplish your goals, you're going to be a healthier, happier person, people are gonna wanna be around you more. So if you can protect that, you're golden. Always incorporate the meaning behind your goal. Adding the because will remind you why you need to set the goal in the first place. For example, instead of saying, I wanna go for a walk every day, you're saying, I wanna go for a walk every day because it improves my mental health when I'm outside and moving my body and getting fresh air. And then the rest of the 23 hours of the day or whatever, I am free to take care of other people and to do what I need to do. But that time really helps my mental health and my overall well-being. Give yourself that because. Make your goals around self-care, not just what you can do for other people. Helping and loving others is second nature to you, but helping and loving yourself is not. Here's an example goal for you. For a couple days a week, do something that brings you joy. Do it first thing in the morning so it doesn't get waylaid by other people's plans or kids' needs. You get to do your joyful activity the first thing that's the start of your day. Now, this next type has no problem setting goals. They love goals. In fact, they probably love goals a bit too much. With a core desire to be successful, sometimes you push yourself to the brink to make that happen, which could mean ignoring your mental health, your physical health, your family, your friends, even your pets. So your goal setting should be centered less around what you're gonna do and more about honoring your limitations. For example, incorporate gentleness whenever possible. Instead of going straight from one activity to the next, take a break. It's actually not a waste of time because it's a chance to let your brain rest and even come up with new ideas. Create a goal around something that makes you happy. I'm a 3 who burns myself out all the time. So I have a rule that the laptop closes at 8 p.m. and then I'm taking this online visual journaling class from Engaging Cultivate, and it's so fun and it nourishes myself. It's like, hey, I get to do this fun thing for me. When you're making your goals, think about everything that defines you, not just your accomplishments. Remember that you're not the sum of what you do. An example goal for you would be to take 10 minutes once a week to sit down and reflect on what you're thankful for, list them out. What are you thankful for? And this is the caveat. They can't be anything that's related to your accomplishments. Next up are Enneagram 4s. You're brimming with ideas about how to make your life more beautiful. But once that initial passion fades, you kind of forget why you made the goal in the first place. Remember, motivate yourself through habits, not passion. To make it to the finish line of your goals, munch on these thoughts. Start small and add more bit by bit. It's easy when you're inspired to go run 10 miles, but that leads to injury and pain the next day. Do 1 mile first and then slowly build up. Create a visual that monitors your progress. Use a planner or a whiteboard to track your wins and make it pretty, make it fun for your beautiful, loving self. Write your why. In one sentence, say why you want your habit. For example, starting an exercise routine could be like, I want to have more energy throughout the day. Here's an example goal for you. After you finish your breakfast, go for a 15-minute energetic walk to start the day, which is also a great example goal for Enneagram Type 5s. You long to be capable and competent, so you often spend a lot of time thinking about how you're going to do a good job with the goal instead of actually doing the goal. This can look like overthinking, being sedentary, or just having a lot of fear. So I recommend that you ask for help. 5s do not like to ask for help, but I promise you, this is going to be a game changer. If you can find a trusted friend to be your accountability partner, that is the way for you to move forward, I promise. Spend time refreshing your inner well. Make sure that you leave time for things that fill you up and you're not constantly focused on that goal. You also wanna, replenish what's going on inside of you. Track your progress. You just want some way to visually see how far you've come, where you have to go, something that you can look at and be like, okay, that's the big picture. Another example goal for you is if you wanna meet the love of your life, go on 2 coffee dates a month. And then you're gonna meet with your accountability buddy, see what I did there? And you're gonna rehash how they went and what you're gonna do better next time. Now let's talk about Enneagram 6. You're driven by the need to feel stable and supported, but you can make all the lists in the world and still struggle with follow through, especially if you're battling anxiety about the bigness of those goals. The best way to beat this is to break down your goals into small, actionable steps. I personally love the SMART system. This is kind of what that looks like. Specific, state what you want and how you're gonna achieve it. Measurable, so find some way that you can keep track of your progress. It could be an accountability partner, it could be a bullet journal. Something like that. Attainable, this is important. Make sure it's in your control to achieve this. For example, it can't be, I'm gonna win an Oscar, but it can be, I'm gonna reach out to 50 agents to try to get representation. Realistic, the goal should be something that you realistically can get done. Time-bounded, 6s are good at this. Give yourself a reasonable deadline and then stick to it. To feel supported, ask a friend if they wanna complete a SMART goal together. 6s are natural team players, so if they feel like they're accountable to somebody else, they're actually more likely to get that thing done. Next up is Enneagram 7. You're motivated by the desire for freedom and satisfaction in life. Stereotypically, you can be portrayed as flighty, but I want you to know 7s are so far from that. It's just that you overcommit, so there's just so much that you want to do. But the problem with that is doing too much takes the joy out of everything. So I recommend you practice prioritizing the most important goals using these tips. Make a list of everything you want to do and accomplish. Just brain dump it on a piece of paper. Then choose the top priority one and commit to that one only. But before you freak out about that, there's plenty of time in the year. After 2-3 months, revisit your list and see if there's new goals that have risen to the top. If you've accomplished that goal, you can cross it off. You're not saying no to one goal if you're making another goal a priority. You're just choosing a time where one is more important than the other. It doesn't mean you're never going to accomplish those other goals. You desire to be independent and powerful. So if you want to do something, you just do it. You're like Nike's dream customer. Unfortunately, because you have an all or nothing attitude, if you can't commit 100% to a goal, sometimes you won't even try. But the truth is 95% done is better than 0% done. So instead, switch your goals from results-focused to process-focused. Avoid exact goals. Instead of saying, I have to work out for an hour every day, you're saying, I'm going to work out for the time that I have in the circumstances that I have because it makes me happy. Which brings us to this next tip because it's really important to know the why behind your goal. This will help you go after things a little calmer because you know what the why is. And if you don't fully, do it 100%, you're still working towards that why. So it's not getting so hung up on the, I only worked out for 55 minutes, not the full hour. It's like, no, I am working out because it makes me feel better in my life. Did you do that? Do you feel better because you've moved your body? You're doing good. Good job at the goal. Lastly, practice self-compassion. If you're judging yourself harshly, please be nice to yourself. If it's just becoming this torture chamber where you're just beating yourself up all the time, take a break. Go to a coffee shop. Go do something that's fun, that's not productive. A great example goal for you would be incorporate stretch breaks throughout your day. This gives your brain a breather and also helps you remember why you're doing the goals that you're doing. Next up, Enneagram 9s. You guys strive for peace in all areas of your life. But because of this, sometimes you avoid going after your goals because you're afraid it's gonna cause conflict. Remember that the most healing thing for your type is to know that your voice matters. Your goals are important and they deserve to be honored. It's okay to change the norm, and you can do that by figuring out what you're passionate about. Make a list of all the things that you enjoy and then circle your favorites. Those favorites, those are gonna be the ones that you create goals around. Next, share your goals with trusted loved ones. Ask them to help you create actionable steps to reach those goals. Great accountability partners for 9s are types 3, 1, and 8 because they're very good at the doing. So if you need help with the actions, ask one of those types. Reframe your fears. They're bound to creep up when you're starting to do new things. For example, thinking, I'm gonna be bad at improv class becomes, I'm nervous. I'm gonna listen to my scene partner and I'm gonna try to do the best that I can. But if you want to know the things that can totally derail your type from making any progress, I made a sketch video that walks you through the blind spots in your goal making that you have to look out for.